into episode 24 of For What It's Worth. It is your host, Calvin Silvers, and I hope everyone is having a good first month of the 2025 season, wrapping up January here soon, going into February, and hopefully that first month was filled with blessings. And hopefully, if you are a betting man or betting woman or whatever, if you bet, I hope you were smart with your money this weekend. And I hope that you did not go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship because that's a real head scratcher. I'm not sure why you would go against Mahomes when there's nothing that he's shown you to go against. Just my 2 cents there. But we're going to start with a debate in this episode. Usually, I like to break down the game, which we'll get to, of course. But we're going to start with a debate in this episode. And it features Josh Allen. And really, it's about his struggles against Kansas City in the postseason because we know what he can do against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. So the question that we have to pose now is Josh Allen's inability to overcome the Chiefs, is that a reflection of his limitations? Or is that the Bills, coaching shortcomings? Is it the Bills roster shortcomings? Where do we need to kind of put the blame when it comes to not being able to defeat the Chiefs? Now, when it comes to postseason woes against Kansas City for the Bills, it's not Josh Allen for the most part. If anything, this might have been his worst showing against Kansas City in the postseason, besides the first time he went against them, and he still didn't really make mistakes. In the postseason against the Chiefs, 103 completions on 158 attempts. That's a 65% completion rate. No problem there. We know what he can do with his legs. 9+ touchdowns, only 1 interceptions against the Chiefs postseason. Now, here's why I don't necessarily want to put it all on Allen, or really much of the blame on Allen. Now, Allen does get blame. Let's not get that construed. He does get blame. You're the quarterback. What is the most important stat that we associate with quarterbacks? Winning. So at some point, if you're the quarterback and you're not getting the job done, you're not getting the wins after so many tries, it's not like either this is only a second time. No. You've now had a handful of chances and you still can't get over the hump. There is some blame to be put on that. But let's go back to the 2021 AFC Divisional. Allen led a near flawless final drive. And like I said, he doesn't turn the ball over much, or at all hardly, when it comes to the postseason against the Chiefs. Mahomes responds by driving the Chiefs down the field in 13 seconds to tie it. They win in overtime. That's not Allen's fault. That's just the greatness of Mahomes. That's Mahomes' magic. There's nothing you can do about that. And then let's go to the next year. Divisional round, the missed field goal from the Bills in the final moments. 2 instances right there of just shortcomings from his team. His defense and his special teams. And and Sean McDermott isn't in the clear either. He's had some questionable play calls too that I think we could bring up and talk about, but you're starting to see my point. This really isn't all on Josh Allen. Also, what was the coaching staff doing here? The defensive strategy in critical moments that was lacking in this game. What was up with all the man coverage? Not only that, you allowed Kansas City in the most important game of the year. You allowed them their first 30-point plus game of the season. Again, not Josh Allen's fault. There was from the coaching staff. Lack of sustained balance. There was no balanced attack there in that first half. You know what the biggest hole that they had to come out of? Why did they not establish the run game earlier with James Cook? Joe Brady's play calling 11 design runs in the first half. 4 of them, just 4 by Cook. That was the total by the second half opening drive that they matched. So there's your shortcomings from the coaching staff in this game. Didn't call a balanced game that first half. You're a lot of man coverage that wasn't going to work. You allowed Kansas City their 30-plus point game of the season. That's more on the defense than anything, but then again, that leaks out to the defensive coordinator or whatnot, and just the overall game plan. So going back to the overall question that I posed of, is Josh Allen's inability to overcome the Chiefs a reflection of his limitations or the Bills' shortcomings? I'm still leaning on the side more that it's on the Bills' shortcomings more than it is on Josh Allen. And to be completely honest with you, this really doesn't affect his legacy all that much. This was another game he played well in, decent in, great in, whatever word you want to use to describe it. He did not really make mistakes. It's the Bills' shortcomings. If Josh Allen played like Lamar Jackson has in his postseason career, his legacy would be looked at differently. If Josh Allen doesn't always compete well against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, his legacy would be looked at differently. We still bring up the fact he hasn't beaten Patrick Mahomes. We still bring up that fact. That's always going to be brought up until he does it. But it doesn't hurt as much as Lamar's case right now, who really struggles in postseason games in just general. Not only just against the Chiefs, but just postseason games. Allen, for the most part, always holds up his end of the deal. He just can't get over the Chiefs, and it's not necessarily all on him. Let's talk about Mahomes, his brilliance once again. Season high metrics. His dropback success rate, season high, like I mentioned, 64.7% in this game. Dropback EPA, which measures the efficiency of a quarterback on a per back dropback basis, plus 21.5. Season high in the most important game of the year. Mahomes can have an average regular season by his standards. He's still going to show up playoffs. And like I mentioned, he makes the clutch plays when the clutch plays need to be made. 2 rushing touchdowns this game. When have we really talked about his scrambling ability, his legs throughout the season? We haven't. He showcased them here when they needed it. He showcased, engineered, like we mentioned earlier, Kansas City's first 30-point game of the season, plus game of the season. And not only that, his 6th playoff fourth quarter comeback, he only trails the current GOAT to people's standards, which could be changed here in a couple weeks, but only trails Tom Brady's 9, and he has 6 playoff fourth quarter comeback. As we were mentioning, his scrambling, the pocket movement, the scrambling, his line performance. Let's give a little clap for the line here for Kansas City. Only allowed just 2 sacks. That's good, and only 6 pressures. 43 rushing yards from Mahomes, 2 rushing touchdowns. Like I mentioned, a key 4th down conversion in the second quarter. Just took advantage of the Buffalo's man coverage, turning broken plays into that additional yardage. The man coverage couldn't keep up with the speed also that Kansas City possesses. But before I get into that, let's just keep talking about Mahomes here, because also too, after the turnover and Buffalo, goes down and scores off the fumble, Mahomes, he responds. Went perfect for passing, made a crucial 4th down conversion, 12 of 15 passes, 169 yards, a touchdown against that man coverage, as I mentioned, plus 19.3 EPA against that man coverage, converted 5 of 9 third downs, and their only 4th down attempt. That's where it matters. Mahomes stepping up, crucial, clutch. But I think the real MVP, we really need to, not only in this game, but just so far in the postseason, is Steve Spagnuolo. Great defensive mind, knows what he's doing, and they knew what was going to disrupt Josh Allen. Now, this is why I mentioned that this could have been Josh Allen's worst game compared to the Chiefs, besides the first time they met in the playoffs, but the Chiefs generated pressure 45.9% of Josh Allen's dropbacks. So that was the highest percentage rate he faced all season. So Spags already, you haven't seen this all season. Why not bring it out now? How are you going to prepare for it? You haven't seen it all season. Not this much. Smart there. Under that duress, Allen only completed 5 of 14 passes, 66 yards, and he did have that touchdown, but still, 5 of 14, 66 yards. 3 failed quarterback sneaks. That was also very crucial. That little tush push where he loves to go to the left side. Spags knew that. Spags knew where Josh Allen's gonna go. Load that side. Smart. Which is also good practice for not next week, but in 2 weeks when he had to go against the Eagles. So already get some practice against a similar tush push, but obviously Eagles do it a lot better. So in that 3 failed quarterback sneaks, as I mentioned, not only does that sound a lot, not only does that sound crucial, this and that, That was a next gen stats era record. So there you go. Congrats to Spags and the Chiefs there. But yeah, just the way Spags is calling up blitzes is unbelievable. His scheme's instrumental, especially on Buffalo's final drive. He's not scared to send the cornerback blitz. He'll send the safety blitz. It's like it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And like I said on that 4th and 5 play, of course you're going to blitz him. You've been doing it all game. Of course you're going to finish off the game like that. Trent McDuffie, Jordan Reed unblocked. Smart play calling from. Now there was a moment in cover 0 that Amari Cooper had a chance to score on, and so that kind of that saved the Chiefs there in Spags. But for the most part, just a flawless game. McDuffie had that one touchdown scored on him, which you don't see too much, but for the most part, just absolutely flawless. The thing with the Chiefs defense, it's a lot of bending and not breaking. Sure, you might be able to cross midfield, but after that, there's not a lot to work with for the most part. So just again, congratulations to Spags and that defense. The blitz packaging, we saw it effective against Houston. We see it effective against Buffalo. So it's not just a fluke of a thing. It's not just a one game thing. It's a really solid defense, and we've been mentioning all year how great this Chiefs defense is, and a reason too why they have a great shot at this three-peat. Not only because you have the one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on your team, which is a huge help, but also that defense has really, really stepped up the past couple of years. Trap coverages, blitz packages, just kept Allen and that Bills offense off balance. They didn't even have balance to begin with, not going with James Cook earlier, just really the run game and all that much kind of really set them back. So now also too why, and I didn't dive more into this when I probably should have. The reason too I'm saying that this might have been Josh Allen's worst game against the Chiefs is the fact that the way Spag was calling that game and the way he was disrupting Josh Allen in that offense. I mean, there was 6 near turnovers for Buffalo, 4 fumbles and 2 near interceptions. So that really drastically could have changed this game if the Chiefs could have just capitalized on any of that. So really, this game could have been more out of hand. So I think the Bills got lucky there too, but still, nothing to take away from that Chiefs defense. The Bills weren't perfect. Defensive shortcomings. Benford, when he went out, that just created a lot of problems. You had Elon filling in. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to target that side. They were effective with it. Special teams, you let Nico Remigio, he's get the 41-yard punt return. That allowed Kansas City to set up. So really, too, it wasn't just the fact, oh, you didn't set up your running game early. It was also the fact that your special teams let big plays on punt returns. It's it's the fact that you lose some key players on defense. So really, there was a lot of issues, and for the most part, it's still kind of surprising in the sense that you have all these miscues, and yet you still only lost by 3. But still, that's what the Chiefs do. They just figure they know how to win. They've been in this situation so many times. They've been in this. I mean, this is all Patrick Mahomes knows. They don't know anything else. Obviously, they're going to thrive in pressure. Obviously, they're going to know what's going to work. It's a great thing about being the Chiefs. I don't know. Do I need to really go more into what we saw on the offense from the Bills? The fact that Cook finished well when they actually let him go. Yeah. I will say though, I feel kind of bad for some tight ends. Travis Kelce didn't do much this game. Kincaid dropped the pass. That would have been amazing. You had last week and Mark Andrews. I feel kind of bad for tight ends. I know Travis Kelce had a good game last week, but tight ends letting their team down for the most part. I think I covered about everything I needed to there with the Chiefs and the Bills. Looking at the Eagles and Commanders, there's not really much I want to talk about besides the fact that the lights were just obviously way too bright for the Commanders. And the fact that your rookie quarterback seemed the most poised, seemed the most relaxed, seemed the most ready. I mean, that's happy. You're happy to see that as a fan base and as an organization, but also like, how is he the most poised? Where was it? Why can't everyone else be focused, ready, calm the nerves? Um, but Barkley, unbelievable. Eagles line, unbelievable. Jalen Hurts, as much as I have personally doubted him this season, He was making plays when plays needed to be made, and that's the thing. You don't need to rely on him too much because your run game's so good, and Barkley is so good. But when you do need Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, when you do want to throw in a passing play in there, AJ Brown, you got great weapons, and Hurts is gonna make the throw. He was making the throws needed against the Commanders, and so it's gonna be interesting to see if the Chiefs, like I mentioned, a lot of bending, don't breaking, but I don't know how well that's gonna work against Barkley. You're really gonna have to put a stop to that, really shut that run game down, and like I mentioned, Jalen Hurts has been showcasing that I can throw the ball when you need me, but put him in a lot of passing situations and then go from there and see how he goes. Barkley is really putting this Eagles team on his back. But at the end of the day, you can't discredit anything about Jalen Hurts because this is his second Super Bowl in 3 years. All right, that was episode 24 of For What It's Worth. This kind of more focusing on the AFC Championship and Josh Allen and his inability to overcome the Chiefs. But of course, we have to talk about Mahomes and Spags because that's really is what makes the Chiefs go right now in the postseason. And I guess one other thing that I didn't mention that I should have. So here's a little extra fun for you at the end of the episode. If you've listened this far, I appreciate it. And here's a little extra fun for you. I just love when someone unexpected steps up for the Chiefs in the playoffs. MVS was stepping up and made good plays. And we saw Juju Smith-Schuster stepping up and making some good plays. Watson on the two-point conversion. That was huge. So it's awesome to see Kansas City have some big guys, or excuse me, have guys step up in big moments when you usually don't see that. And, we saw Travis Kelce take all the spotlight last week. So to get others involved, Worthy and everyone, is really fun to see. All right, as mentioned, episode 24 for what it's worth. Go ahead and follow us on all our socials: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere where you can find a podcast or upload videos. We are on. Just type in For What It's Worth or FWIW Sports Pod. Go ahead, like, favorite, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can. We really appreciate it. Send the link to your friends, family, dog, cats. I don't really care. This is whatever you guys can do. We appreciate the support. And until next time, have a good one.